welcome to chair yoga lunch break. So we're going to do about 30 minutes worth of yoga here for a lunch break. You just need a chair and that's about it. So you've got that, you're good. Make sure that your chair is steady and it's on a surface that isn't going to cause you any trouble if you lean one direction or another, and that you're far enough away from anything that you you're not going to smack the desk or anything like that. You got a little bit of room for your arms to move. So first we're going to start sitting up, just as neutral as you can make your spine. You can sit a little forward on the chair if you need, so that you can get your feet on the floor. And then rest your palms in some way. So you can rest the palms together. You can put one palm on each knee, either hands up or hands down, or palm up or palm down. Or if there's a more comfortable way, like maybe you have arm rests on your chair or something like that, you can certainly use those. And let your eyes close for a moment, or you can close them most of the way. If you need to leave them open a little bit, that's fine. Take some deep breaths, or maybe a yawn, maybe a yawn or two. Just take some nice deep breaths. And then check in. Are there little places where you might be carrying some stress or tension? You might have to relax your shoulders a little bit. More breaths. Now we're going to take a nice big inhale. As you exhale, if you can, just let your chin fall towards your chest. Now, we're just going to feel the right side and the left side of the neck. Kind of lean a little to the left, a little to the right, and see if there's one side that feels a little tighter. So if your right side's a little tighter, you're going to lean your head a little to the left. If your left side's a little tighter, you lean to the right. And then we're going to take this shoulder blade, kind of pull it down and a little bit forward. You might be feeling a little stretch towards the back of the neck. That is what we're after. Sometimes when I move my neck around, I get, there's two little things that can happen. Either I start yawning or I get a little salivation. It's just a release of pressure. So if anything like that happens to you. Alright, so then I'm going to take my head and lean it the other direction. I'm going to let it fall backward so I can stretch this front area. So I'm pulling my collarbone back, letting my head kind of fall to the left. My right collarbone's coming down. One more big breath there. Maybe two if it's feeling really good. And then we're just going to bring the shoulder back and let the head kind of find its position back in the front. And then we're just going to kind of lean it a little bit to the right and draw the left shoulder blade down and a little bit toward the front. It's like you're trying to tuck your left shoulder blade up under your left armpit. Couple more breaths. Okay, so then I'm going to let my head kind of fall backward. I'm going to pull my collarbone down and to the left. Last breath. And then I'm just going to bring my shoulders back to the center. I'm going to let my head kind of float up to neutral. And I'm just giving myself a little bit of movement. We'll take the shoulders up, around and back in circles. expanding. Ooh, pardon me. Go the other direction. All right. So then we're gonna take the shoulders, just kind of hike them up, and let them fall. Hike them up. Let them fall. Hike them up to your ears a little bit higher. One more time, and then let them fall. All right. So we're going to do some little sun salutations. So we're sitting on the chair so that the legs are as close to kind of a parallel situation as possible given the circumstances. You're going to let your arms dangle, and they just need a little bit of room. So we're going to sweep the arms up, nice tall stretch, then put the palms together and fold forward. Put your hands on your thighs, and we're going to bring the upper body into a little cobra. It's almost like you're laying on the ground, just fold it up. Okay, so we're going to come back, do a cat shape, letting everything curl in around your back. Then sit up nice and tall. We'll bring the arms up. If it feels okay, we're going to twist to the left. Take a nice big breath. Put your right elbow on your right thigh and side stretch out while you're there. Come all the way back up, both arms to the center, nice big tall stretch. Twist around to your right. Nice big breath, left elbow, left thigh, stretch out. Come in all the way up, reach the arms back, create a little bit of a lift, and then we're gonna settle the shoulders back. Okay, so we'll do that again. Nice big stretch and sweep of the arms, come forward, cobra, cat. Reaching up tall, twist left, side bend to the right, nice big breath. Come all the way back, nice big lift, twist towards your right, side bend to your left, big inhale, coming around, reach the arms back, and then return to neutral. So we're going to do it the opposite direction this time. So we're going to sweep the arms up, nice big long reach, come straight down the middle, cobra pose, coming back, sitting up tall, nice big stretch. We're going to twist to our right first. Nice inhale, exhale, stretch over to your left side. Coming all the way up, nice big breath. Twist to your left, nice inhale. Elbow, right thigh, stretch over to your right. And then come back to the center, reach both arms back. Settle the arms back, get nice and even. One more time, big stretch up. Fold forward, cobra. Back to cat. Sit up tall. Twist to the right. Nice big breath. Left elbow, left thigh, stretch to your left. Come in all the way up. Nice big stretch. Twist to your left. Nice big inhale. And then right elbow, right thigh, stretch and over to the right. And then come all the way back up. Reach the arms back. And then resettle. All right, maybe I'm just sleepy. All right, so we're gonna work the wrists. Usually that stops after I'm done with the neck and shoulders. Maybe not today. Twist in the opposite direction with the wrist movement. Just getting a little circular movement in the wrist. Lace your fingers together. We're gonna do kind of a little wave. Do it facing forward or up. Switch the direction, don't think about it too much. Alright, just trying to get like that little bit, kind of a little bit of movement going there, right? Alright, so then we're going to stop, and I'm going to grab my hand from this kind of finger knuckle area, and then I'm going to stretch this away from me. So I find when I'm trying to stretch the bottom side, that it helps to kind of stretch out my arm. Now I'm going to stretch the top side of the forearm, so I'm going to pull the hand toward the wrist or toward the underside. So that helps me to bend the elbow a little bit and get a little bit better stretch that way. So experiment for yourself. We might all be a little different. So we're going to stop in the name of love. We're going to pull ourselves a little wrist stretch going this way. I like to stretch my thumb and my pinky finger out. And then we're going to do the top part. And again, bending the elbow for me helps a little bit. Kind of interesting. And then we're going to shake that guy out. And shake this guy out. Give the fingers a little bit of kind of piano playing kind of motion. Nobody plays piano like this. But just that kind of idea. So then you're going to stretch your fingers out really big and curl them in really tight. Stretch them out really big. Try to get lots of space, especially in between these last couple of fingers. Curl them in. We're pretty good at stretching our thumb out, but see if you can get like your pinky, your ring, and your middle fingers stretch away from each other. Curl them in one more time. Stretch them out one more time. And then just give them a little rinse. Alright, so we're going to do some fluid movement with the spine, going back and forth to start with, kind of cobra to cat. And even though we did a little bit of that with our sun salutation, it helps to just put them together, do them back and forth. So we're trying to get the pelvis to shift back and forward, and also the rib cage to shift back and forward, okay? So we're moving a little bit through both of those areas in the spine. One more. And then we're going to settle ourselves in the center. It feels like we're nice and tall, and we'll do a little washing machine motion. So we're going to just twist back and forth. This should be really light feeling. Don't go too far. And then just let your arms kind of go along for the ride. And we're turning from the waist, not from the shoulders. That's what that looks like, right? So we're turning the whole torso. Couple more. Okay. So when you're even there, we're going to do a little blown palm. So we're going to take the legs out nice and wide, and we're just going to bend sideways and then the other way. So our little palm frond arms are going in all directions. This is a bigger movement, but just, being, again, light with it. We're not going too far. We're going to dig into this in just a second. But right now, one more to each side. That's nice and light. Okay. So we're going to turn ourselves around a little bit so that we have, in this case it's my right leg, and you can follow along with your other leg if that's easier for you. I know there's some mirroring issues sometimes with the online work. So I've got my right knee right over the edge of my chair so that I'm as far back as I can go. So I've got my hips as far towards the back side of the chair as possible. And then I'm going to scoot right to the edge so that I can take this leg and stretch it back into a lunge. Now some of us will be able to get that leg all the way straight, and for some of us that'll cause low back pain. So or knee pain. So you'll leave your knee a little bit bent and keep your pelvis a little bit higher up. I'm going to hold on to the chair on this back side of it, and then I'm going to take this arm up and I'm going to start straight up in the air and just kind of stretch up through my side waist, and then I'm going to let myself lean towards the back end of the chair, back of the chair. So I'm leaning in that direction. This just stretches my side waist just a little bit longer, plus I'm adding this big opening in my hip flexor. Last breath. Okay, so we're going to hit this hip flexor a little differently. So we're going to turn the body a little bit to the diagonal. Bring this leg far enough forward that you can get it all the way straight and you can get your foot on the ground. So you can turn your toes out or in a little bit, wherever your toes want to land so that it feels okay in your knee and your hip. We're going to lift slightly through this inner thigh. We're going to bring the elbow to the right elbow to the right thigh here in my case. And then we're going to stretch this whole thing. And I'm going kind of to the right diagonal because I'm sort of diagonal on my chair here. Now this gives me a chance to hit that same kind of hip flexor area a little differently. You might like one version more than the other. That's okay. Take one more big breath, and then we're gonna come all the way up. Now I'm gonna swing this leg forward, and while I'm sitting sideways, I'm gonna get a little bit better on my chair here. And it doesn't matter as much if my feet completely touch the ground. So I'm gonna do a little twist towards the back of the chair, and then I'm gonna use the chair to move my shoulder blades. So my chair has a high back. If your low back is a little lower, it's not a problem. Just take your hands and kind of grip the sides of the chair like you're gonna kind of squeeze it. And then squeeze in this chair a little bit. We're gonna bring the right shoulder blade up and the left shoulder blade down, and then the left shoulder blade up and the right shoulder blade down. So we're just gonna move the shoulder blades. They're not gonna move a lot probably, but we'll just bring them one up and one down. Just using the chair for a little bit of support while we do that. Get a little bit of movement underneath the shoulder blades. All right, so we're gonna let go of the chair. We're gonna come out of there. Give the shoulder blades a little jiggle. All right, and then we're gonna take this whole thing around to the other side. So we just gotta spin, and then we're gonna back it up. And again, I put my knee right over the edge, and I scoot right to the edge of the chair so that this thigh is resting on the chair, but everything else is off. And then I'm gonna try to stretch that leg back into the lunge. So I'm in a lunge pointing this direction. And again, I can take my arm up. I've got one hand on the back of the chair just for support. You can do both arms if you don't feel like you're gonna fall that direction, but I do. So the chair provides that little extra bit of support for me. And then I'm gonna lean sideways here. So I'm pulling a little more into my side waist. Oh. 2 more breaths. Alright, so then I'm going to come around. So I'm going to bring my knee just a little further forward. I'm going to turn my hip, and then I'm going to re-straighten out my leg. And I'll find a spot that feels like I can kind of make a purchase on the floor. A little lift in this inner thigh. Left elbow, left thigh. Stretching myself out. And again, because I'm sort of on a diagonal on my chair, I'm going to stretch to the diagonal. Ooh. I'm just feeling all this kind of tissue right in this hip flexor area, kind of opening and stretching out. Ooh. You can use the chair for support or your thigh for support, whatever feels the best. Sometimes one side of the body is a little different than the other, so you make different choices. One more big breath. Good, so we're gonna bring this leg all the way forward, and again, all the way around. And then we're gonna sit up nice and tall, twist towards the chair, and you can try the top of your chair versus the sides, but we're gonna take the shoulder blades again through this little motion. So I'm holding the chair, giving a little squeeze. I'm gonna take my left shoulder blade up and try to slide my right shoulder blade down. It's almost like I'm trying to make a figure 8 with my shoulder blades. They're not going to move that far, but in my brain, I'm trying to do that. So then I'm going to do the opposite. So I'm going to take this right shoulder blade, pick it up and bring it up higher, and bring the left shoulder blade down and in the middle. So left shoulder blade high, right shoulder blade low, right shoulder blade high, left shoulder blade low. And it's really just trying to get these muscles that live right in the middle of my upper back, which I don't know about you, but that's where I like to carry stress and tension, so it feels nice to try to manipulate that area. Oh. Good, so one more. And then we're gonna let go, and we'll come around. All right, yogis, so we're gonna do some work with our legs. So I'm gonna scoot a little bit forward on the chair, but not quite as far as I had at the beginning, just far enough that I feel like I'm right in the center of the chair with my sit bones. And then I'm going to pick one leg up. Now, if you can't pick one leg up, no worries. You're just going to put your tiptoes on the floor, and you'll move your leg like that through this range of motion, okay? So if you can pick your leg up, we're going to hold on to the thigh and the foot. We're rocking our leg back and forth. Then we're going to put this ankle up on top of the thigh if it works out okay. Now, if you feel any pressure in your knee, it's not worth the pressure in the knee. So instead, you'll just cross over at the shin, okay? Now, if I just sit up tall, that's generally, I can feel a little sense of stretch right there in my thigh, so I'm good. If if I didn't feel that I could lean forward into it. Again, there's no good can come from overpressurizing the knee. The quadriceps maybe, but the inside and outside edge of the knee should be kept protected. Those are largely just ligamental areas, and we don't necessarily need to bother with those. We want them to be steady and strong. So I'm going to take 2 more breaths here. Now I'm going to give myself a hamstring stretch after the second breath. And to do that, I'm going to grab my big toe with my fingers, and then I'm going to try to straighten my leg out. If it can't get your leg straight, grab underneath your knee and straighten your leg that way, and that will work just fine. So we're just trying to get the back of the thigh a little stretched out. Feel that sensation of lengthening in the back of the thigh, but we're not trying to rip at our knee or at the hip. Okay, so right in the middle of that muscle is where we should feel it. Nice big breath, and then we're going to let that leg go. Give that one a little shimmy. Feels good. I like the way it feels when you're done with a bunch of stretches on one side and you haven't done the other one yet. That's cool again. It feels good. All right, so we're going to grab the other leg and give that baby a rock. And again, you might just be on your tiptoes, moving your leg back and forth. That's okay too. And so then putting the leg on top and sitting up nice and tall. And I flex my foot really firmly. That helps protect these 2 little jointy areas in the knee. So the lower leg bones, you have 2 bones, and the upper leg there's 1 bone. And so where the bones kind of come together at the knee joint, there's a ton of different ways that they attach. And so there's little connective tissue that lives, that separate the bones, so it's called the meniscus, and there is connective tissue that kind of goes diagonally through the knee. Those are called cruciate ligaments. And I don't want to mess with any of those. Like, I want this to be nice and sturdy. So by flexing at my foot and really making sure that my shin bones, like my knee and my ankle, are lined up together so my shin bones are not twisting, is a great way to make sure that knee is stable. So I can work this hip line. If our hip isn't willing to go further, it'll land in the knee. So we want the knee to be really strong. All right, so now I'm going to give this hamstring a stretch. So big inhale, and then I'm going to grab my big toe and swing that leg out all the way straight. And again, you can grab underneath your thigh instead. I find my big toe a good handle. It works, but it doesn't work every time. So again, you don't want to tear anything, so you can have your knee a little bent, or you can grab a little lower. 2 more big breaths. And we're going to bend the knee, let go of it, give ourselves a little rinse. So hopefully we've moved nearly everything. So we're going to end with a couple of standing poses. We'll start with down dog on the chair. So to do down dog on the chair, I'm gonna move my chair slightly this way so that there's plenty of space. I'm gonna put my hands on the bottom of the chair. You could also use the top of your chair if it's not quite so tall. And then lean your hips back. So my hands are about shoulder distance, fingers spread out. Lean my hips back. I might even walk back a little farther if it feels okay to do so. And then you can play with your shoulders. Hug in your armpits, bend the knees a little bit, take one hip and then the other back. 2 more breaths. And so we're going to bring ourselves a little bit forward, and we'll step so that our feet line up pretty much right under the hips, and then the wrist is pretty close to right under the shoulder. So I'm going to take my right leg back behind me and then my left arm out in front. Hug in through the sides of your waist. This is a good way to build some strength and some core strength. So strength in our hip and in the core. One more breath right there. Now put your hand down, bring that knee in nice and tight, curl up into a round shape, send the leg back. Exhale, curl in. Send the leg back. One more time, we're going to curl in. And we're going to put that foot right down beside. And take a moment. You can put your elbows on your chair and lean back into dolphin. we're going to come back and do our spinal balance on the other side. So I'm going to take my left leg out and my right arm and stretch between those 2 points. Nice and long. Good. 2 more breaths. Hug in through the sides of your waist. Last breath. All right. Put your hand down. Bring your knee in. Curl up. Inhale, stretch it out. Exhale, bring it into curl. Inhale, stretch it back. Exhale, bring it into curl. And then put it right down beside the other one. And come all the way to standing. Give yourself a big stretch. Oh. And then we're going to take a nice moment for mountain pose. So standing with the shoulders relaxed, toes pointing forward, a little soft in the knees. Just be present for your body. Does it feel a little different than when we got started? A little more at ease. We can keep our fingers crossed. We're going to shift the weight into the right leg and pick the left foot up and get just a little bit farther away. So you can use your chair to get yourself started, but then try to let go. Put your hands together or over your head. If you fall, catch. And try to avoid furnishings and plants. Sometimes we're wobbly in life. It's the way life is. Take a breath. Put your left foot down. We're going to shift the weight to the left leg. Bring the right leg up into tree pose. Nice balance there. Hey, friend. Around my little plant friend here. Good. Bring your leg down. We're going to pause again in mountain pose and see, does it feel a little more lively with the legs? So thank you for joining me for chair yoga. I hope you enjoyed it. Let's take a big breath together. And a big deep sigh. Namaste. Enjoy the rest of your